After looking at histology images comparing acute inflammation tissue with chronic inflammation, there appears to be a larger gap between the cells and the chronic inflammation. My understanding is that this gap is filled with interstitial fluid. From plasma point of view, is this fluid the gans that the new inflammation pen will transform back into normal lymph through discharging the higher magnetic fields and thus returning the tissue back to its non-pain condition? How does it work?
You have to understand there is a difference between the pain and inflammation. And the inflammation is a way of like a cancer. And in the process of inflammation, we don't get a solid state like cancer or more dense like cancer, but we get liquid, or we get expansion of the cells by liquid, where the inflammation, the expansion leads to creation of pain. And what we have learned in Keshe Foundation over years is we do not treat inflammation without the pain, and we do not most of the time treat to understand the pain without the inflammation position or expansion of the cell. And the expansion of the cell or liquid within a cell comes from extension of the gravitational field within the liquid. So especially the pen, which now we introduced, especially I think it start shipping out this week, is understanding this principle. The connection between inflammation and the pain, and the emotional condition between it. And the inflammation, when we take the energy or the energy which comes as a pain towards it, even if we don't see the inflammation, it creates expansion, local pain, or we call energy transfer, or what it comes. Then we stand a very good chance to empty it like the way we empty the cancer cell. And when you take the energy from it and you consider dilution of the fields within, then you can work very much easy in energy transfer and returning of the what we call cell back to its normal size. It's taken years and years of work to be able to understand the connection between the inflammation and the pain. And now we released the pen last week, and I saw them this today in the lab. They start shipping them out. It's understanding this process, and secondly, being able to spread the fields. We've developed a new technology that we spread the fields wide open. In the pain pen today, we work with a tip. Now with a new structure of the design, we cover the whole arm. It's not anymore in one point. The point sits with, we usually say use two pens with the other side. Now we have developed this technology which we expand the fields of the pen. It's not on the tip anymore. Tip is a point of reference, but now we work around about 5 or 10 centimeters from the point. So the whole area gets affected. That's why it's become so effective. So to understand, the pain usually is localized, but the inflammation it covers much more area. We had to develop this technology, but we use this in so many ways in the new space systems too. So when you speak about inflammation, is understanding the knowledge of the plasma as a concentration of the liquid in stuff like a tumor as a more solid, dense material. And we treat it the same. And now the new systems are much, much more powerful that we can handle now the pain and inflammation, but we cover a huge area. It's not anymore just one pinpoint. Now we cover the whole conditions from one to another, and we advise now, from what we've seen, to use two pens opposite to each other, that you create a condition of the circulation of the fields. And it's very effective. This is an advancement in technology, and as I said, it works very effective. It was extremely effective to understand when you deal with the inflammation. You need to bring comparison with a much bigger area than when you deal with the pain. If I could explain to you how exactly it works. The whole body is made of liquid, but now it's a concentration of, then you have to devise a system which you can interact with that position, not the whole, that you can bring balance. So it's a beautiful understanding, and it works perfectly in the lab. We have tested them with the patients. Another question.
Yes.
We don't stop developing, and the development we look at now more and more detailed, more what we call specialized systems that they can deliver. And this new pain pen and inflammation is one of those new innovations of the Keshe Foundation. The future, what we see maybe in the next stages of development, is to add what we call a transfer of energy, to understand what this energy was and is. In the pain, understanding the reason for the pain, where we can transfer this energy now. It's a technology part of the what we call transfer of information or communication. And we work with it'll be tested this Monday or Tuesday in the lab, where we transfer the energy as information, and then we understand it in different ways, what that information is, what is going to be done. The way you communicate with the body to understand the reason for the inflammation or the pain. And now we are heading in that direction. As I said in the teaching, new knowledge has been released, and that allows, in a way, a lot of new opening in the world of communication, the Keshe Foundation and beyond. We now can communicate or transfer energy to another point in a very, very simple way, hundreds and thousands of kilometers away. This technology will, in a way, allows us to understand the reason for the pain. For example, we transfer the information of the emotion and understand it. It sounds a bit complicated, but it's a very, very easy process. Keshe Foundation in the next few, again, as I told you, many researchers are going together at the same time. We will release communication lines where you can connect to your phone, and in so many ways, a specific line, you can go anywhere in the universe, anybody can contact you. This is now in our hand. It was developed years ago. Now, as I said, we're moving into a new direction. The technologies now are coming for commercialization. And one of them is transfer of the energy. because the body uses a lot of energy even for the inflammation. And that's a huge amount of fields which can be used outside. You transfer the energy of the pain into useful energy outside the body. And it does a lot of good things. It brings a lot of understanding. I was talking, we tested this week with one of the knowledge seekers, this new material and this new technology of transfer. And what happens if you keep the body in the same position, same condition? For example, you have a pain in your arm and you use the technology to release the pain. The pain is still there, but when you get up and you start moving, the pain disappears. It transfers the energy right across the body. Or when they use this as a drop liquid, you feel no change. But when you sleep or rest and you get up, the body totally is different. There's no pain, but then you feel so fresh. It's like you have a whole day ahead of you, which means you bring a lot of energy in during the process of trying to reduce the headache or the pain and the inflammation. We were discussing this because we tested it this week and we know exactly how it works. Now we can transfer this to somewhere else, the same energy as the thoughts, through the understanding of the technology, the new equipment which are produced. One of the examples of this new technology which is going to be released because now it's in testing phase in the lab, is that you can walk in the snow, in the ice. You can live in the ice, but feel no pain or no what you call cold. And in a way, nowadays, we transfer by burning fuel energy to heat up. With a new technology, you can just wear a simple glove, or you can wear a simple hat, or something very similar, very small into the skin of the body, and we can transfer energy from anywhere on the planet or on anywhere else that you don't feel the cold. You don't feel the pain of the cold. And the body starts behaving and living normal. In a way, we can transfer energy of, let's say, inflammation into the body, that it warms the body up, it heats up the body, that it can stand outside cold. Instead of you wearing a glove or wearing warm clothing, the new technology allows the energy transfer without interfering with anything else, that you don't feel the cold from outside. It creates a new layer, new protection without clothing or without burning any fuel. This is now is nearly few weeks testing and it's correct. So you will see a new evolution in science, in new material, in the new technology, more or less the same as deflaming the inflammation. This new technology will change a lot of things once it's fully used. Is, for example, you can go into space without any clothing because we can create a condition to change the environment or absorb the fields from the environment to the heat energy for the body. We just create like a shell. You don't need to wear a protecting clothing. You can go into a deeper part of the oceans without any protection or any clothing, because now we can produce that in the skin of the man. It's a very interesting development, and gradually we start explaining it more in detail. And the background behind it was the pain pen and the new pain pens which has been released. So we are on the way to learn how to protect ourselves from cold, from warmth, from whatever, and using the energy fields environment around us, not white clothing. It's a very interesting technology which is appearing at the moment. This is what, for example, a few weeks ago we explained that People which are paralyzed for years, they start suddenly walking using the technology without any pain. Now we understand the technology, we use it in a very effective way, that we transfer energies to create that condition without any medicine, without any outside involvement by injections or suffering for years. We use the information and the pain to transfer as an energy to the body. It's a very interesting development. You can even transfer your fear into energy deposited to the body. It opens a new dimension in the health and travel into deeper space, where you can get out of the system and walk into free space without any need, where you can absorb the energy for your living and energy for your warmth through the new transaction or transition in the body performance. In a way, there is no need for clothing because you can't take clothing with us, but it keeps the body warm if it's in a matter state.
So we have the second question here, that is, you said to us not to feed the plasma knowledge back into matter state to understand it. So what about going the other way, using plasma science to explain how matter state works? For example, when we take an anti-inflammatory chemical like ibuprofen, it appears to work. So first, we know it becomes a gans in the stomach, and then what happens? Does the plasmatic field strength of the ibuprofen transfer into the lymph as plasmatic ibuprofen, and then travel around the body until it finds a matching field strength, what we call the inflamed tissue, or does the ibuprofen just become part of the lymph soup?
Becomes part of the lymph soup.
Então, se torna parte da sopa da linfa.
It changes.
Sorry, can you repeat, Sir Keshe?
When it's needed, it will change too. The difference between the understanding of the new technology is that it's not in one place, it's available across the body. And this is what we couldn't understand, how we take a tablet and it goes to the head, or we take a tablet and it goes to the leg where the pain is. In the understanding, new understanding is that because it's plasmatic, it goes right across the whole body. Then it doesn't matter where the pain is, and take it for its use. It's not that it goes only to the leg, it's available if you have a headache too at the same time. It feels transfer to both. It's a different way of looking at the knowledge of the body and its functioning and its work. This comes on the back of the knowledge, as we used to say. You drink a glass of water, your thirst dies, the whole body gets regenerated. Is that when the water pass goes in the mouth, now it's in a plasma condition. We are entering a new dimension in both communication and transfer of energy. Maybe it's food, or maybe it's pain. It's in a very near future, Keshe Foundation will release most probably small tablets that in swallowing the tablet, you absorb the full spectrum of the energy you need from the environment. You never need to eat. We're taking the technology a step further inside the body of the man. So in the space, you, by taking a small tablet, which is actually field transfer, you absorb energy from outside. You don't need to eat anymore. You bring the fields as they come in, they feed the cell of the body of the man. And the whole world of communication, food, all changes. Totally changes from now.
So the next question is, you said last week that pain, last week, no, in the teachings that you gave to us about the pain, you said to us that the pain is like a virus an energy pack that we discharge through the pain pen. So in present science, they found a chemical called bradykinin, a peptide with 50 of carbon, more than 70 of hydrogen, 15 of nitrogen, and 11 of oxygen. So they say that this causes the inflammation and pain. When they take the gans out of the vacuum sac of the body, does it become then the matter state? And is that how they find these chemicals?
The chemicals we see the body produces is very much like a virus, like a corona. Corona is an energy. When it interacts with the cell, creates that crown, what we call the corona. Is the inertia of the cell which allows in interaction with the energy of the virus to create inertia or manifestation of the element. Element doesn't exist before. In interaction with the gravity or magnetic field of the cell, in the position of the cell, it produces, converts its material energy into material state. We understand this fully now. And this is why we see in certain places, certain kind of illnesses, infections don't appear, because the muscle tissue does not, or a body tissue does not allow such a transformation of the inertia field of the cell into what we call a pain or whatever else. It's like we don't get a cancer in our leg tissue. It's very rare. But we get a lot of cancer in red muscle tissue in the stomach, like kidneys or liver. Now we understand vulnerability of the body of the man and the energy transfer. If you consider the body of the man like another galaxy, another solar system, another environment of the space, then you can do a lot of work like this. We don't need to go into another galaxy to find out what happens there. We go to another organ, we go to another part of the body of the man, and we see what we learn in one part, does it apply to the other part, and what will manifest itself in that part. And these are the new ways which in practical we are releasing information and technologies. As I said, the revolution in the science and technology starts from 21st of March. You hear a lot about these kind of developments in Keshe Foundation. Feeding the man in space, feeding the man in deep space. Transfer of the communication and understanding in different aspects of energy transfer. And in the line of communication. Very soon, very, very soon, if we, what we call, we go through this phase, what we did with Corona, we do in reverse. What we took away from virus to become a cell, normal cell, with a new technology, we deliver an energy pack within the body of the man that man does not eat ever in his life. Now it's feasible, now it's practical, now we can produce it because the gas technology and energy transfer rate is understood. These are the revolutionary technologies which we start bringing out, as we said, from 21st of March. New sciences will come out, and these are part of the new sciences. Any other question?
Yes, we have here. We go to the next question, speaking Portuguese first. Então, a próxima pergunta é: você está usando os gans da bradicinina para combinar a dor no corpo para descarregá-la? So this question is related to with the last question is: are you using the gans of bradykinin to match that of the pain in the body to discharge it?
What?
So, because in the last question, it was said about this peptide. In English, I'm not saying correct the name of this peptide that they discovered called
No,
bradykinin. So he's asking if you are using the gans of
no, no.
bradykinin. No, okay. So we can go to the next one. You want to say something about this question?
About what?
About this question, not gans of bradykinin. Are you using the gans of bradykinin to match that of the pain in the body to discharge it? So the answer is no.
No, no, no. We understand the transfer of the field. Body of the man is a collection of it, and where there's a misbalance, the body releases it all together in one go.
So my understanding is that for chronic pain, we will have to use three things: the new inflammation pen, the pain pen, and the gans you indicate, right? So will you teach us how to use all these methods?
We are developing these for one purpose. The system is on the table in the lab. Is if I can change hunger or change inflammation in you in one body with one transfer, the new system, if I locate it in a city, I can change the man, that no one feels hungry, no one feels pain, and we can satisfy the soul of the man. This is what now we are testing with the flight system. It's on the table. I was looking at it yesterday, where we see the evolution of the transportation. I want to go to supermarket. Which supermarket? Where you want to go? The feel you have, the composition and the place you want to be gives you that position with your system to travel to. These are edge of science technology which we are releasing. And as I said, from 21st of March, the game is over. It's not people thinking is the end of the world and the rest, but now it's the beginning of technologies which we could not even dream could be possible. And these are part of it. These are the breakthroughs in what I call science of technology. That if we tell the man cannot kill outside, we have to provide the energies for his existence. And the new system does. The new technology developed does. But look at for example, you're walking on the street. You have, we never look at it this way. If a car passes you and you want to cross the street, the speed or the slowness of the car passes is more or less irrelevant, because it's you who will inhale the exhaust of that car into your lung. When you stand at the junction with so many cars crossing, you are continuously, literally connected to the exhaust of all of them, because as they pass, they release a lot of energies as exhaust. And while you're standing there, 50 car passes, you have taken energy from 50 cars, from what was embedded in there millions of years ago, because now the machine is burning it and making the different field available. So we understand this. We are developing a technology that now we pass hundreds of thousands of galaxies and stars. We can take those energies, but in an energy level, not by the matter state gases. And this creates a new dimension in space travel, where you don't need to eat, where you don't need to, you never get sick, because your body continuously balances itself. And we start teaching this in the coming time. And the prototype of it was set on the table months ago. It's not something coming. That's why I say when the change comes now, the change is time of the change has come. New technologies, but in a space level, not in a man's level of matter state. And tonight is the first time we start releasing it. That then be followed in the public teachings. The breakthrough in science, in space science, in universal knowledge science is huge.
We have a question here that once you said you could hold the pen in both of your hands and direct the fuse to where the pen is. Any advice on how we can do that? Because it's really difficult to hold the pen in your back.
You can do, but you have to understand how. Understand the energy transfer. Don't look at the position where you put the pen. We had a case of a headache, very bad headache. And we applied the new technology yesterday. The headache was there. When the knowledge seeker went to sleep, it was still there. When he woke up, it was just like I'd never had a pain, and it was absolutely a fresh day, so much energy. The whole purpose was to test to see that not only we sort out the headache, but we use the energy of the headache to become part of the man's energy, or like eating a food while you're asleep with the headache. It's a different approach, but in essence through the new plasma technology. I cannot put an apple across the table or across in the other room and expect you to enjoy the energy of it or eat without eating it. Now you can. Now with the new technology, I can create a condition and you can enjoy the apple anywhere, more or less anywhere in the universe. Because the new technology does not bring just energy of the apple, it brings the emotion of it as well. We always look, it says, oh, I want to eat this apple. But look at the other side. I'm the apple, I want you to eat me, because then I can transfer my energy inside you and that energy can become something else. So is it the man who goes for the apple, or is it the apple that says, come and eat me? Because it's alive, it has information, it has a reason. I was created to transfer energy to that. It'll be energy of that apple. We never looked at the true essence of the creation energy transfer. Now we do. Why do we crave for something and we get up and go and get it? You're sitting on the chair and saying, oh, I like to have a pot of yogurt or some cheese, and you go and get it. Is it the emotion inside, or is it the cheese in the fridge says, come and get me, come and eat me? And then it connects a link to you because it satisfies an emotion. Now we understand more in a different direction. You have to look at the science in all aspects, not just what you've been told and follow. When you pass the table, you pick something up, but what about when you feel, oh, I see apple, I want to eat the apple? Is it you who feel to eat the apple, or is the apple says, come on, I create an emotion in your head that you come and pick me up? Because then it's not that I have to transfer my seed somewhere else to become a tree. I transfer my energy, that my energy becomes somewhere else. These are what we have to understand in a new dimension of life. And then gradually you will understand more. I desire to be in such a galaxy. I want to see what that star I'm looking at, how does it feel? I can instantaneously be there because I go through the line of emotion and the field that is being transferred to me, because that star is a living thing, it has emotion. I show myself for you to come and see me. Then transportation takes a new meaning, new ways. We start explaining these kind of things in more detail in the coming months and weeks. And you will see a lot of you will change in understanding it and applying it. We will not eat another animal. We will not eat another entity, because if an animal wants to be eaten when it's outside the body of the man, converts itself to the gans production of itself and the energy that the man needs.
For example, if we only had access to one pen that we made ourselves, which you said is nothing like the ones from Keshe Foundation, how can we use our soul to relieve the pain? I have tried visualizing the knowledge you gave us by imagining all the energy packs of pen and inflammation are flowing into the pen and through the nano coating, the leftover energy is traveling back into the body through the hand. Sorry. Sometimes a strong relaxation comes over the body and the pen feels warm. It seems to help, but the pain comes back. Please, can you help us further our ability to heal ourselves? Thank you.
The pain comes back because you have not created the right balance. It's still the essence of it. It's like a hunger. Hunger comes back because the energy is used somewhere else. And it's the same process. In the coming time, in the teachings, we go in depth in these. That's how you feel yourself in deeper space. We can't keep on saying we take you there and then blah, blah. You have to know what to do if you're a last man understanding. And this is a new cycle of teaching starts. Body of the man and the soul of the man to be looked at the same time in depth of space, through understanding of the transfer of fields of the universe, not the mankind or a potato or a banana. It's a new cycle, and this is part of what we said. We start from 21st.
Once you taught us how to make a pen with two double coils in it next to each other. You said one was for the body and one for the emotion. This was the time before you started teaching about the soul. How to understand what you were trying to teach us? How do these pens work differently from a single coil?
We usually teach sometimes far ahead. People don't understand, believe it. And now people still don't understand a lot of things which was explained before. The paint pen, if you look at it, the double coil, and if you look at the cup of life, if you look at the cup of life number 1, number 2, it's no difference. Now we know when you have a coil, you have a dimension of the soul or emotion. And now, when it was taught years ago, nobody understood. Now it's coming to the cups, you call it the cup number 1. You use 2 coils, 1 nano-coated, 1 non-nano-coated, and 1 plate and whatever, or you use 3 nano-coated coils, you work through the soul level. So if you look at it, we taught you more or less the essence of the creation of the soul, elevation of the soul with just simple pens years ago, years and years ago, but nobody understood. Now, even now that I explained, a few of you might understand. The rest of the Keshe Foundation are like, as what I call, in another dimension of world and just too much involved in material life.
So the last question is, there must be emotional issues around the chronic pain. Will this procedure you are teaching us cause the emotions to come to the surface and be dealt with.
If you get a kick and you get inflammation, there's no emotion in it. You physically got damage. You look at it that way too. The process is, if there is an emotion involved, because the way we produce the new systems, it simultaneously handles the emotion and the physical damage. We do not, you can't take paracetamol with you into space. You have to understand the energy which affects or works as energy of the paracetamol. This is what, for a long time, I'll be explaining, to move into energy transfer, motion of the field. You can make paracetamol from the energy of an apple. It depends, does that energy gives you the feeling of the, what I call betterness. When you start moving away, jumping from one thing to another, move into understanding of the interaction of the fields, and everything is possible. You got to remember a story, if you remember, that when you look at the field coming from a magnet and you are 1 centimeter away from it or a kilometer away from it, on the other end is the magnet, which is the essence, is the source. So in the plasma energy, you see on this end of the, you stand on this end of the fields. The other end is a center of the plasma, is the principal energy. What do you want to take from that center? Now you have the road, you have the rope, you can pull what you like. And this is what the knowledge seekers haven't understood. And then you see at the end of it, as the string depends, you wanted a meter away from you or 10 meters from the center. In meter away from you, it'll be the energy of the pain. 2 meters away from you towards the magnet or plasma, it'll be the emotion of the satisfaction of no pain. So this is what it has to be understood. That's why I said we start explaining the fields. In the teaching, I'll explain more of this as we go along. This is what the mankind has forgotten. You are at the end, if you stand on a motorway 100 kilometers away from Brasilia, you're still looking towards Brasilia. Brasilia is 100 kilometers away. In 20 kilometers is 80 kilometers, but at the end is Brasilia. So there you can see the cars coming to you. You see the energy comes to you. At this point, you receive certain energy. At the other point, you receive different energy because the cars have less fuel or more fuel. They carry more to you if you look at it that way. I started explaining the field transferring technology, as we said, from now. And then we see we don't need a matter state. You need to get on the track of the fields, understand it, then the speed of transportation becomes nothing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for letting me teach or share knowledge. But from now on, we have to understand the true essence of creation, not in what we look at the matter state. As I said in the teaching of Thursday, any of us has the ability to reach the state, any state we would like to reach, even the state of understanding the Creator. Depends how we can, to what fields we want to attach ourselves to and elevate our souls that they can become in touch with. Thank you very much for tonight.